All right, well, welcome to this week's edition of Gateway Live. We are back in Illinois this week with a very special interview for me personally and a little bit different than we're used to. Today we have Makayla and Whitney, formerly Miller. You are now Toll and Hobbs. And they were residents with my wife and I at Gateway Woods in the Hickory House, or the East House for you old schoolers. So today we're going to talk to them a little bit about their time at Gateway and since then, and hopefully give you a little different perspective behind the curtain, as we say. So welcome, ladies. Thank you for being here or inviting me over and agreeing to do this. I appreciate it a lot. So we were just talking, it's been about 10 years since you've been at Gateway, and which is just incredible.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. But if you could think back, I remember when you were getting ready to come into Hickory House, we had a big sit down, everybody met together, and we had an interview and we talked. What were kind of your emotions and your thoughts as you thought about the prospect of moving from Illinois to Indiana to come to Gateway Woods? And just, Makayla, maybe you could start since you're older.
I wasn't happy about it. I mean, I was a freshman in high school and I had friends and everyone here, so I was very reluctant to come out. And I mean, my parents had told me the night before we drove out that we were going out to Gateway. Okay. So I definitely was not happy about it at the time. I mean, I'm glad that they drug me out there now, but yeah, it was a very weird time. I don't know. It was just different.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I remember right, you were at that time, you were kind of the more outgoing one, kind of the older sister, and Whitney, you were a little more reserved at that time. So what were you thinking and feeling as you kind of internalized that?
I was, well, at first driving out there, it didn't really hit me until we sat down with everybody, and then I was like, oh man. Yeah, I was really scared at first and nervous about starting, like, not a new life, a little bit.
Okay,
yeah. But it was really good to have Makayla there to go through it with me a little bit, and obviously it was like different with you there too. But it was a really good experience.
Yeah, we had siblings at Gateway before, but we never had sisters in the same house or together, so that was definitely an interesting dynamic. It was new for us too. Do you remember, were we the lead house parents at that time, or was it Ryan and Bethany?
It was Ryan and Bethany first, and then you guys came on after them, and Shane and Stephanie were the alternate house parents, and then it was also John and Amy as well. Yeah.
So who was your favorite house parents?
Hard to choose.
Okay. So
of course you.
I know, okay, I know. So as house parents, we kind of had this interesting dynamic. When any resident would come in, we'd call it like the honeymoon period. Generally, like the first week or two, everything's kosher, and then, true colors start to come out. And how did you feel, like your acclimation? You get into the house, you ended up coming out there. I think your mom ended up moving out eventually, and so you had her there. But as you began to live life in the house, in Hickory House, how did you feel that acclimation process went, or how was it for you? Whitney, we can start with you this time.
It was really different. Just all the chores that we had to do, and as like a big kind of family, doing everything together, and like actually like sitting down and talking and praying with everyone and going to church. That was really big. Yeah, it was kind of not really different because we grew up in the church, but
you kind of knew what it was like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it was really different. Getting used to new, I guess, kind of siblings. We really got along. Yeah, in the house is really different. But
what was it like? We'll get to you. What was it like when you had been there a while and somebody would leave and then a new resident would come in? What was that like for you? Was it like a new sibling coming in and you just had to get to know somebody, or was it more? I don't know. How was that dynamic?
It was kind of weird being like, you're excited for them, but you're kind of sad you're still there a little bit. But then getting to know a new person and like, you know, introducing them around Gateway and everything was.
Yeah. So how about you, Makayla? If I remember right, you were a little more rebellious when you came.
I was not happy that I was there. It was a while before I got acclimated. I was just very like angry that I was there. And I mean, it was, you know, I had to get used to it, but I think the house parents especially were really accommodating and helpful. Ryan Donahue, you played a prank on me the first time I came in. The very first day he showed me around the house, and he did the thing where you get your hand wet and you act like you're sneezing. So there's like, you know, teenager Makayla, super emotional and angry, and then Ryan Donahue trying to play a prank. So it was interesting. I think it was, it took me a while, but it was good. Like, everyone was really nice, and it was kind of weird being around a lot of other like strangers, like teenagers that are similar and like going through a lot of stuff as well. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it's interesting. As house parents, you try to find, you know, like you said, to be accommodating, but it's more, you know, finding what motivates you. And you two were very different. You know, you, like I said, you were a little more rebellious, and Whitney, you were so quiet when you came in here. And you definitely gravitated. I think our kids really liked you because you were quiet. And so we enjoyed, you know, letting our kids spend time with you. And Makayla, I remember a specific incident. I don't know if you remember this, but it was very eye-opening to me because we didn't really know what motivated you. And I don't know if you remember this, but our freezer, the drain line froze up. Do you remember that? And water, our freezer was like flooding, essentially. And it was my job to fix that. And you were like, "Can I help you?" And you struggled like to clean your room, and when we did chores and stuff like that, you didn't do that. But to figure out what was wrong with that freezer and like the ingenuity, you were just like, let's try this. I think we had like a hair dryer in the freezer, like trying to dry it out or something. And I was like, she was totally into it. And you were so motivated by that. And it was like, for house parents, it's like, okay, we gotta find things for Makayla to fix around the house.
So that's still me to this day, as I hate cleaning my house. I don't like doing dishes. My husband does a lot of the brunt work, but I replaced the dishwasher completely by myself following YouTube. So that still follows me.
Okay, well, good. So we were on to something.
Yes, I mean, it worked.
Yeah. I remember another story. We're not just going to share stories here, but I don't know if you remember when our dishwasher backed up and like flooded into the basement, and we had that drop ceiling, and the ceiling like started to pull down, and you're like, "Can I poke it?" I don't know. Somebody's got to do it.
No, yeah, I remember that very clearly. Yeah. That was a very satisfying.
Yeah. Okay, so you moved through your time in the house, and I think it's still pretty similar, where there's phases and there's points. I think a lot of kids find when they come in that fake it till you make it kind of works. Like, you know the rules, you know what house parents are looking for, and so for a while it's just, okay, I'm just going to go through the motions. But eventually you see, hey, this really works. You know, it's actually working. Was that kind of your mentality, or were you kind of fighting it the whole time, or did you kind of buy into the program as you went along? Go ahead, Makayla.
that was my mentality for quite a while. I was like, I just have to find a way to survive and get out of here as fast as I can. And I wasn't good at it, so I was there a lot longer than normal. But yeah, it was definitely one of those things where I tried really hard to just fake it and like hide everything. But after a while, you realize that this is helpful, and they're trying to help you. They're not just, you know, there. So it was definitely. Yeah.
How about you, Whitney?
Yeah, that was pretty much the same way too. For a little while, I just was like, okay, and so like submitted to everything that you guys asked and what we did and all that. And then the counseling part, when we had individual counseling, walked over there, I think that really helped a lot too. That
Yeah.
kind of, set it in for me that,
Mhm.
this really helps. And I still use some of that to this day,
Right.
some of that counseling
Yeah.
advice.
Now, Kirby was your counselor?
Yeah.
How was Kirby?
I love
I
Kirby.
love Kirby.
Love Kirby.
Kirby, after you guys left Gateway, he kind of stuck with your family for a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah.
Afterwards, and provided some service. He's off training military people now.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
He
crazy.
was really close to us since
Mhm.
Mark was in the army. He was,
Okay.
And I really wanted to go see him because I think he was in Atlanta when we were down in Georgia.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Kirby's a great guy. I'm glad we talked about that. The counseling is very important. I actually think it's been up. There's more of it since you both left. But
Awesome.
like you said, Kirby, it's not just while you're there. It's stuff that applies afterwards, and I think you both have found that. So what were some of your high points, Whitney, as you think of your time at Gateway in the magnificent Hickory House? When you look back, what are some of the fond memories that you have that you think, it wasn't all difficult or all bad, and you look back and you say, I really enjoyed that part of it?
I'd say like all the activities that everyone did, like together, not just as like a house, but like as a whole, all the houses together. And I remember we playing like frisbee,
Yeah, ultimate frisbee.
ultimate frisbee, yeah. And dodgeball
Yeah.
and the plays
Mhm.
that they put
Plays,
on.
yes. Were you in any of them?
Yeah.
And Maggie's,
And Maggie's.
Dark and Stormy Night, I still have that DVD. My husband found it and made me watch it with him.
That's so great.
It's still wonderful.
That's great. Were you in that same one?
I think so. I remember got locked in the box. Yeah. I have mine somewhere. I think my husband watched it and just couldn't stop laughing when I was in
That's funny.
They don't let us live it down.
Well, the beginnings of your acting career. Someday.
That was the beginning and the end of.
Oh, okay.
We tried.
Well, we're kids, we play around, so that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how about you, Makayla, when you look back, what are some fond memories?
Oh goodness, definitely a lot of the like group stuff. A lot of the like youth group stuff that went on out at it was Tim
and Jenny's.
and
the Summers,
Jenny's.
yeah.
I remember a lot of that really clearly, like all of the worship and everything that went on, and getting to be able to do that, like that helped a lot, and that was it was really nice to kind of like get away from Gateway for a little bit, because it's just you kind of feel like you're just kind of stuck there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
being able to get like all of the houses out there and just have fun, like that was
I agree. I think one of the interesting dynamics or the great things for us was how the kids at church grew up with Gateway right there. Like they knew what it was about. They'd been around. They knew kids were coming, and how they just would welcome into the Sunday school, into YFN and stuff like that. And you had these kids coming from inner city where you had the background of the church because you kind of knew how it operated. But inner city kids coming with no background in church, and they would just welcome them in.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
That was the best part, is you don't get that often in churches. Is just how the whole church was just so welcoming, which was a really neat thing to see. And like I still am friends with a lot of those people on Facebook and see them, and just it's a really cool thing.
It really surprised me too how welcoming everyone was.
Yeah.
I was so unsure, like, I'm from Gateway, and I'm there, and it's like, and they're like, oh, come on in, and so it's really nice.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. So on the opposite end of that, Makayla, what are some of the low points? You look back and you say, man, I just am so glad that's never going to happen again.
Oh man, all of the consequence work that we used to do. there was a point in time where I had to clean out a cow pen, and I remember that very vividly.
See, it stuck with you.
It did, and I haven't gone near a cow pen again in my life. I think that was probably, it was, a typical thing, like, but that and,
What about room time? Still a thing.
Still, is it really?
So.
Man, that was rough. I think, yeah, I don't have fond memories of room time. I was on it so much.
You are somebody that I still reference with
I did
my
room
kids.
time for like
Well,
4.
here was your thing. You could write, like you'd done room time, and then you could write down what had happened, whatever the issue was. But you really struggled to like say it out loud.
Mhm.
And we wanted that from you. We would bring you to the office and we'd say, okay, you've written it down.
No.
Like literally you can read it from the paper if you want to. And you would not do it.
I'm still like that. Like Gateway helped a lot with that, but I'm still like that. Like it's just hard for me to like verbalize a lot of that stuff. So if I'm mad at my husband or something, we'll text from like opposite rooms in the house, and he's like, just come and talk to me. And I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah. So how about you, Whitney? Looking back, what are some low points? What are some of the things that... All right, well, I apologize. Somehow the video got cut off, and we're going to have to start midway through here. So I think, Whitney, we were at your low point. So looking back, what are some of the low points that you had in your memory bank?
Yeah, I have to agree with Makayla too. It wasn't as extreme as her consequences, but the consequences were kind of a low point. It really, had me thinking about everything, like what I did and stuff, like sentences, and like you couldn't leave without, like when you bumped down phases, you couldn't leave without, telling everyone where you're going, what you're doing, and
Yeah, so looking back, we're 10 years out now. And Whitney, you said that, you still use some of the things today. What are some of those things that you carried with you from Gateway till now?
Yeah, one of the big things was counseling with Kirby, the dialectical behavioral thinking.
Yeah.
That really stuck with me. I use it with my husband a lot.
Okay.
You're blame shifting and stuff. So that really brought me through in the all the chores. I use those with my kids. Chores a lot and all that.
Very good. So Kirby, you have influenced Whitney's life immensely. So thank you. How about you, Makayla? What are some of the things that you've carried with you?
Definitely the counseling was super, super helpful, especially like after we left Gateway, it stuck with us, and like they, Kirby was still with us for a while, and then we had Clint, who was also one of our, he was like an at-home counselor. That was the thing that I think helped the most, that stuck with me, was a lot of that.
Okay. So looking now and looking back to a resident who is going into the program or who is there and struggling, Makayla, what would be some advice, a piece of advice that you would give to them?
It gets better. Yeah, you just have to get through it. It's a rough patch in life that happens, and there were plenty of times where I felt like this was the worst possible thing that could happen to me. I absolutely hated it, but as time went on, I was there for 2 years, and it kept getting better. And it's just a phase that you go through in life.
Yeah.
You just got to get through it and keep pushing and trying. So, yeah.
Thank you. How about you, Whitney? What would you say to a resident at Gateway Woods?
She pretty much took the words from me. It does get better. It does. Just do what your house parents tell you, and go through the counseling, and it really helps. It does get better. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. So we had different perspectives from Gateway. We were house parents. You were residents. From your perspective, would there be any advice or encouragement that you would give to house parents, Whitney? What would you say to a house parent that's there currently?
Same thing. It gets better with the kids. Going on. At first, they'll rebel and hate you for a while, but then they'll start to love you and realize what they're trying to do is good. But,
You hated me for a while?
Not
The truth comes out.
not like hate, but
strongly dislike. How How about you, Makayla? What would you say to a house parent?
I think the same. I think just like keep doing what you're doing. I mean, like you're a house parent for a reason. Like God put you in that position for a reason, and it's been nothing but helpful for us. I mean, there's like I still like will reminisce on Gateway days, and I'll like tell my husband stories all the time. So it was just keep at it. It gets easier.
Okay. Well, thank you both for your answers, for your willingness to be here and then invite me over. Makayla, how long of a drive was it for you? Hour and a half. So an hour and a half to drive just to be on camera. But I know we already went through this once. We did the whole interview after the camera shut off. We didn't know it, but I will tell you again how much we love you. And Mandy again said to tell you that she loves you as well. And we appreciate the women that you've become. We're very proud of you, and we're glad that this worked out. All right, that will do it for us. John will be back next week, I believe, and we will get you another interview. We thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions for Makayla and Whitney, you can put them in the comments. They do watch these and follow along, so they will answer them as best they can, or if it's a Gateway-related question, we'll try to answer it. We specifically stayed away from, and we ask that you would too. We did not get into why they came to Gateway, what events caused the need for that, and the reason for that is it's in the past, and we don't need to hash over that. We've moved on, and we've grown, and so we ask that you be respectful in that regard. So thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you next week.